God Force One.
That one didn't run as long as I thought. All right, here we are.
Welcome everybody. I'm going to be hoarse, so I'm going to let Buddy and Eric do most of the talking tonight.
I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, I don't either.
But it's been an interesting week. Been a whole lot of stuff going on. But one thing I noticed that's got a lot of activity on my Facebook page is the homeless camps over there by your house, Buddy, off of what's it called, WaterTower Road behind Dairy Queen and between Dairy Queen West and the East-West Connector. Eddie Hawkinsmith flew a drone over a couple years ago, or last summer for me, just because he told me about it, and so we just wanted to see what it was. I went over it again the other day. It's doubled in size or more. So I put on Facebook, I said,
Sorry.
all right, now, it wasn't me that time.
That was
I've
me.
already got all my stuff
That was
off.
me.
Yeah.
Golly,
so I went on Facebook because I didn't know who owned it or nothing, and a lot of people responded. Got a lot of actions. Got over 13,000 views on just that one post. So it must be of interest a little bit. I've talked to you about that before.
A little bit, yeah.
It's right at the end of Collins Lane, back there where you live.
Yeah, I'm aware of it, but I haven't heard much about it since we talked about it. A year ago or so.
Yeah. So what I'm wondering is if either one of y'all put trash in your yard, the city is going to they're going to send somebody up there and say, hey, clean it up, or if your grass gets over 8 inches tall or 12 inches tall, they're going to send a crew up there to cut it for $100 a man. How come they don't do this on the corporate guys that actually got the money?
Well, that's something I've never even thought about. I mean,
as a citizen, or Eric as a citizen, I had a guy I worked with in Indian Hills. He parked the trailer, like my 12-foot trailer. Mm-hmm. He parked the trailer beside his driveway. City cited him. So he put gravel down. City cited him, said you can't have gravel. So he had to pour a concrete pad. So he got pissed off. He moved out in the county.
Well, you got to remember that laws are written and they are enforced basically for people that obey them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And now you're talking a little bit again about selective enforcement on why. I don't even know who it is. Is it the Thieneman Company? I mean, I've seen their sign up there. Who owns it?
It's under a trust.
Okay.
But I think it's managed by the Robbins. They got those signs.
Yeah, the Robbins. Yeah, I've seen it. So do you find the trust?
I don't know.
I went digging on there, and the LLC that owns that's subdivided into, I think, 4 lots maybe?
At least, yeah.
It was 4 or 5 on the PVA website. And they're all owned by the same LLC, which its members of the LLC are 4 different other LLCs. So they're nested LLCs. And 2 of them were trusts, which is another entity.
Nested. Help the layman here.
Yes, it's
help the layman here.
It's where a LLC is owned by an LLC.
Okay,
so they're nested beneath.
I got you. Okay, I've just heard different terms.
You see nesting dolls?
Yeah,
the little dolls. That stack?
Okay,
same concept.
Just not heard it put it that way before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it makes it more difficult to get down to people. You had to keep digging on Secretary of State website until you find out who the actual people are.
What does that sound like?
It sounds like government to me.
Well, and
if we throw enough smoke and mirrors in front of it.
Right. Looking at the video, 2 weeks ago when I did it, because I got a new drone, so I'm out flying it around on places I know there's some stuff to be seen. Shopping carts were everywhere. Then when I went over there a couple of days ago, somebody had gathered them up. There's like 15. You know how you go in the store and they're pushed in, you just yank one out? They're like that. But there's still a whole pile of shopping carts down there.
In the encampment?
Yeah, because there's a new structure in there. There's a new tent they built. But is there health dangers to this? My thing is, why can't you all have that in your yard, or I can have it in my yard? Like I couldn't park 14 shopping carts in my yard and leave them.
I think what you run into on that is out of sight, out of mind. There's no one that you can't see it from the road. Mm-hmm. You can't see it from somebody's property, so they just don't care. It gets ignored. Is it enforceable? I would think it's just as enforceable.
Well, that's why they are where they are. That's why you have to take a drone.
Right.
I mean,
or go walking.
If you drive up, if you come out of Collins Lane and you make a right, I am 100% certain that there is a homeless encampment there on the right, and it's actually below that Shell station and between Collins Lane. There you go.
And did you know that you could, when I was first told about it, I pulled up on the pull off there at the East West Connector. You can see it from there. You got
absolutely.
You got to look for it.
Yeah, in the wintertime you can see it.
Yeah, once the leaves are out, it's gone.
So I pulled the image up so that people listening can see what we're talking about.
So here's a couple of issues that I immediately see with that. First of all, the homeless population in Franklin County is well underreported. It is completely underreported.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And if you
I've heard that from multiple sources.
If you look at there's been talk of city officials trying to get the homeless the access, not the food shelter, the access for men's
access shelter by City Hall,
to get that out of the downtown area, because some people claim, and rightfully so, that it causes people to not want to come downtown and be scared
on 2nd Street.
Yeah, because let's face it, downtown Frankfort is not. We don't usually walk around homeless people like you do in downtown Chicago or New York or San Antonio,
San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean you don't even have to go that big. You can just go to a little bit. Louisville. I mean, Louisville's one of the bigger ones, but Lexington. So we're not used to dealing with that. And Eric, you're right, 100%. Out of sight, out of mind. But there's also a human component to this. And the human component is, how are we treating those people? What are we doing for them? And how and what is our responsibility as local government? That's a big question. What is the responsibility of our local government? Should we house them? Should we house them and feed them? Should we just feed them? Should we leave them out to the elements? Am I good?
No, Teresa said our audio keeps cutting in and out.
Oh yeah, it's kind of cutting in and out of my.
I'm good.
Mine too.
I was putting a gate on yours. Go ahead. Keep going.
All right. So that being said, I can speak firsthand to this, okay? Because I've recently had some stuff going on, and I have been. That's why I'm wearing blue tonight. I've been in the UK Med Center within the last week. I'm good. I'm good now. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm good. There were more indigent people that were in the halls, that were lying on beds, than there were people being seen in the emergency room. And it is a very humbling experience. And it's humbling in the fact that, we roll in here, me, you, we live a pretty darn good life, considering there were people lying in the halls that were coming off substance abuse. There were people lying in the halls. One man didn't have he had his little toe, didn't have any other toes.
Oh, wow.
And it was sticking out. And it wasn't that I had to see it, but it was moving for me to see it. So I've gained a little bit of hubris and seen some things that, just like these people that are living in these tents. I couldn't imagine living in a tent in the bottom of a holler.
At 5 degrees outside.
Unbelievable. So therein lies the question: where do we, as a community and as a government, where does our responsibility begin and where does it end?
Does the government do it?
That's
or your NGOs or groups? Because remember out in California, in San Francisco, when President Xi and those other Asian leaders came to San Francisco, Governor Newsom cleaned out all the homeless, and Mayor Breed, they cleaned out all the homeless. Because remember, they're famous for having that poop app,
yeah.
where people defecate right on the street, and then somebody tags it and they go clean it up. Well, they removed all those people. And I was watching Gavin Newsom's podcast with Charlie Kirk, and he asked him, well, how come it's homeless everywhere? Then when President Xi comes in from China, it's clean as a pin. It's beautiful. As soon as he leaves, 2 weeks later, everybody's back.
Yeah.
He said, why do you do that? And he didn't have an answer.
No.
It looks like I don't have an answer for you. I don't think Eric has an answer for you.
I mean, my personal opinion is that belongs on the body and it belongs on the church.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you poll those people? Because I gave some money to a guy at Walmart one day and asked him what his situation was. He says, well, I'm trying to get money back to get a bus ticket back to Texas. I said, all right, I'll buy you a bus ticket. He starts laughing and goes, I really don't want to go back to Texas.
Yeah, and you're going to run into that. You know, a lot of these people have substance abuse issues, and a lot of them have mental health issues. And in fact, I would be willing to say that 95% of the people that are living there have either a substance abuse or a mental health issue, because I don't see how someone sane could actually live in those conditions.
There's propane tanks down there too. I saw 2 propane tanks, 2 of the bigger than the 20 gallons that we have in our grills at home.
Yeah.
I saw some larger propane tanks down there, and it's just amazing the volume of trash. So if we care, who cleans it up to make it? If they're going to stay there and they choose to stay there, they don't want accommodations provided by the city or whoever. Who helps to clean it up so they don't get sick, and then might be some kind of outbreak like they have out in California every now and then. They get an outbreak and they go in and medicate them all up so that it doesn't spread to the rest of the community.
I don't have the answer. I don't think, I've yet to find somewhere in Scripture that tells me that the government is to take care of everybody. And that's and that may sound harsh, but that's not what Scripture says. It says you and me and Eric and everybody else is supposed to do that. And so and that's where a lot of people get into their arguments about public policy, is because a lot of people think that the government should be the church and it's not, and that the government should be religious and it's not. It's definitely a compact that, or a subject that we need to talk about, and that needs to be in the front. But once again, like Eric said, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And if it's not, if those people are not causing a ruckus, then they're not going to be addressed. It's not going to be addressed by City Hall.
But is the ruckus where they're, you see everywhere on social media that people are complaining about them being at every intersection in Frankfurt now? It's funny when, like, I left, I think, Lowe's the other day, heading back towards Shelbyville to my house, and the inside lane was 20 cars deep, 30 cars deep. The side to turn right to go into Frankfurt where the homeless guy was, there wasn't a single car.
Right.
People are avoiding it.
Well, I guarantee you this, that let's say there's 20 people down there, and I guarantee you if those 20 people were getting out of that homeless encampment every night, and they were going in and they were raiding McDonald's and causing a public scene and putting people in danger and then running back down into the homeless encampment, it would be dealt with. And it's like out of sight, out of mind. Not big enough a problem to deal with yet, but if you get big enough to deal with, we'll deal with it.
Remember when the hillside caught on fire on the East-West Connection?
Absolutely.
So I don't think Eric was aware of that. I was telling him about it.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, going down the hill on a real windy day, the hills, they said a grill fell over or something, and they'd get a couple fire trucks up there to put it out because it was spreading so fast. So one other interaction I had, and this is what I think turns people off of helping them, up at the Love's truck stop.
Uh-huh.
Got off the ramp, going to McDonald's, talked to the guy, he said, food, God bless you, on the sign. So I go buy him a couple Big Macs, Coke, large fries, take it back to him, stop where I'm going to get on the interstate to go back, walk across traffic, hand it to him, the drink and the bag of food, and he says, thank you, bless you, and all that stuff. As I'm going down the ramp, I look in the mirror, he just tosses the drink and the food over the guardrail.
Oh, wow. So he never wanted money.
Me off.
Yeah.
He wanted cash.
Right.
And he wasn't looking for no food. I mean, if he threw the bag over, I said, well, maybe but he threw it like this.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't just lay it on the other side of the guardrail, but he threw the drink too.
The issue I've had is I've heard, and I don't know this to be true, this is rumor and speculation at best, that a lot of times those are people that are standing at stoplights with holding their signs or whatever, that a lot of times those are people that are from out of town and they're only looking for money. They're not truly homeless. I don't know that to be a fact. It's rumor and speculation.
Yeah.
But I've heard and I've seen videos where they'll film them and they'll be getting into a car or whatever and then leaving. That's not necessarily in Frankfurt, but
That was a dude in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
yeah.
Girl.
Yeah. Well, there was a guy
with no legs.
I can't remember, but he had a accent that he acted like he was mentally challenged, and and he was on WLEX, and
oh yeah,
do you remember?
Yes.
And he I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm just this is how he was. He was talking like this. He going, and I be good. And get me the. I'm really good right now, man. I make $100,000 a year, and was bragging about it.
Yeah. He said it on camera.
Yes, he was bragging about it.
Well, and the problem with that is, it is for people who like you were talking about earlier. If you look at it from a Christian perspective, we are our brother's keepers, and we should help. We should help people who are struggling when we are blessed with the means to do so.
Right.
But it makes it so difficult. I mean, you can talk about discernment, you can talk about, whatever you want. It is hard. How do you discern, yes, this is a person in need. No, this is a person that's out here scamming everyone, because it does happen.
I agree with you, Eric. My easiest thing for me, and I've had, I've flip-flopped forever.
I do too.
I've flip-flopped forever. But the easiest thing that's coming to me right now is it's not really our job. Our job is to help them, and that's it, and let it go.
Yeah,
that is it. That's our job.
I agree.
And it's so hard to do because we always try and put. I mean, don't tell me we don't do this. Tell me you haven't done this. Tell me you haven't gone on the internet and looked and you go, oh my gosh, so-and-so liked this post. Well, I know why this person liked this post. Oh, yeah. Because we do it. That's our human nature. But at the same time, you go back to helping somebody. That's all we got to do. We got to help them and try and help them within our means, and then let it go. Because we're not gonna make them. We're not gonna convict them that what they're doing is wrong.
Right.
That's on themselves.
And the whole point is, it's a mess down there. Should somebody or some group or some entity, whether it's government or not, go down and clean the area up for them?
Right.
There might be food down there that's rotten, which is going to draw rats and mice and stuff.
But
what do you do?
Again, it's the out of sight, out of mind. If I don't see it,
Yeah.
I'm not convicted.
What's a
I
shopping
don't
cart?
feel guilt about someone living in absolute squalor.
What's a shopping cart cost? $300.
Oh my gosh, more than that.
$500.
Got to be more than that.
There's
Yeah, because those are
20 of them
durable
down there.
goods.
Yeah.
If there's two, there's 20.
Yeah, yeah. And the ones they got always have a bad wheel. You can't get one. You can't get one that works anyway.
But the only way they can get there, I
Yeah.
think, is going through down to Collins Lane where those concrete barriers are,
Yeah,
and going up that little roadway.
they could come down They could come down. I think they could push it through like AutoZone and come down through Dairy Queen and get to the end of that little cul-de-sac, and then
Force it through.
Dude, let me tell you what. You talked about, you made me think of something earlier, and I didn't get a chance to get it put into words. Do you have thermal imaging on your drone?
Hell no, it's $5,000 to add on.
Okay, well,
But a friend of mine,
Teresa wouldn't let him.
wrong. Come on now. Eddie Hawkinsmith is going to get a thermal drone.
well, it would be interesting to see when it gets cold down there, to see if they're using that propane, and it would be, and to see if you can see it on that thermal imaging.
With thermal, you can see if there's people there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Eddie's he's gonna get one. The ones he's been trying to get, everything's on back order, which is a whole nother topic. But so I didn't know if y'all had any ideas on what holding the corporate folks like they do the citizens. There's been a couple comments on our thing.
Yeah, go ahead. You can speak to them.
Because that's my cousin's wife. It's
Yeah.
my cousin-in-law, Dana.
Cousin-in-law.
Yeah, whatever. She's cool as can be.
You know how those family trees are from Eastern Kentucky.
Sometimes,
Hey, whatever, man, it works.
sometimes there's not enough forks in the branches.
Hey,
We're just kidding.
my cousins, I'm just a phone call away. But this is in Indian Hills on Ojibwa. They're dealing with the city, a couple of houses that aren't occupied now, and they're having to stay on the city to get them cleaned up.
I hope nobody goes in there and claims them and claims residency.
Right, and then Dana about Rosam. Yeah, I know about Rosam too.
Right.
Because when I had my
Yep.
apartments, they would always call and say, because they get scammed apparently,
Oh gosh, yeah.
and they would say, "Is this person really staying at your apartment? Do they need this kind of help on their rent and stuff like that?" And I'd say, yay or nay. Sometimes it was, it's probably 50-50. They would say they need help on their rent, but their rent's already paid.
Yeah.
Because it's paid through Section 8.
Scammers are going to scam, and you know as well as I do, scammers are going to scam.
If anybody knows what paths to take to help those folks out by cleaning their area, if they're going to stay down there, they're going to stay down there.
I'm going to challenge the churches.